I agree with it. They're also a really good example. Yo, bro, go be famous. It's wild, man. Behemoth Nergal, he said something which was interesting, which I think actually is a bit of a heated discussion, but I think it's pretty important. Behemoth's Nergal is serious when he says don't start any bands right now. It's tough out there on a lot of bands right now, and Behemoth's Nergal realizes that as much as anyone. So much that in a new interview with Chaos Zine, he actively discourages people from starting new bands. The pandemic is the reason the gears of music industry machine are grinding, creating issues in all sorts of ways. When the world was shuttered, it reset nearly every band's album cycle and put them back on the road with brand new albums at all exactly the same time. Without off cycles to help keep things balanced, markets are oversaturated and fans can only see so many shows and listen to so many albums. Okay. On the economic side, there's a rising cost to contend with, which is an absolute nightmare for bands as they try to remain profitable on expensive tours and also recoup some of the money they lost during lockdown. Plenty of artists have even had to cancel tours due to logistical issues. They risk suffering massive financial loss. Yo, much love to all my music homies that are in bands, right? I'm so lucky I'm not in a touring band. Like, you guys are always like, yo, Nick, go on tour. Yo, Nick, when you touring with Termina, bro. Yo, bro, go be famous. That's what the bands do. No, what the f***? Why do I want to be on tour? This is not easy. You're away from home, all this shit. But, like, you're investing in a tour. If anything goes wrong, your tour gets canceled and you guys are in debt. Like, think about that. Like, it's more volatile than fucking crypto. But, like, you're investing into something, and all it takes is one person to get sick, one vocalist to have a fucking bitch fit and go home, and your whole tour is destroyed, and you lose. Not only do you not get money, you are in fucking debt. Like, shit's expensive, bro. You need a whole fucking accountant to go on a tour. It's wild, man. And it's crazy because this is like the main financial income for so many bands. And like that to me always blew my mind. Cause like if that was my, like, again, like I'd fucking go insane. Like I'm very thankful I have YouTube and Twitch and Patreon. Like I'd go fucking crazy if it was just like, well, I can't tour, therefore I'm fucking broke as fuck. But this is the case. This is just the music industry and how bands are set up. Yeah, the world is overwhelmed with bands, with records, with albums. There's really no space there for anything, he explains. There's only 7 days a week. There's too many tours around. There's too many shows. People don't have and will have less and less money. So all the tours are suffering. Do you really want to put another song on the album that no one will pay attention to? No, you don't want to do that. So what should you do instead? Go find yourself a proper job, finish university, travel, enjoy life. Don't do this. So I'm going to say something else controversial. Besides this, finish university. If you're a doctor and like whatever, like you're something that, you know, like stuff like that like I like, you know, you go to the dentist or the doctor and you're like, I kind of wish they went to school. That's important. Go get a university. But like from a lot of university, you do you, boo. I learned all from university and I went to York for sake. Like I went to like the business school for accounting and I didn't learn a lick of business. All of my networking, business, finance knowledge I learned was from the internet. Was from fucking YouTube. And your boy's doing all right. Okay? I mean, I didn't invest in crypto, so your boy's not doing so bad, right? Yeah, that's the only part I don't agree. Other than that, I'm going to be real here. I agree with it to a point. I agree with it if he replaced don't start bands with don't start traditional bands. I agree then. I think what Nergal is being is just, he's being a bit of a nihilist, but he's being a fucking realist. Everything he said here was true. There's too many tours. Like, there's tours that are stacking on top of other tours. Bands, fans can't decide what to go to. Tours are expensive. You guys know how much it is to get, like, a fucking ticket? I've been checking for some of these. Like, it went before the pandemic. It was like 30, 20, 40 bucks. Now it's like 100 plus. No fucking cap for so many tours to see. Like, as consumers, this shit's expensive to go to tours, and that means you're gonna just have less disposable income to go to tours more often. But there's more tours to go to because there's more bands on the road, so that's tough. And then, you know, putting a song on another album that no one will pay attention to. I mean, yeah, a lot of bands are just putting out music and no one fucking cares. There's so much music. Again, the traditional route, like touring, is hell. Selling music's hard. Merch is however good you are at selling and understanding the internet. A traditional band is fucking hard. So again, if I agree with Nergal if he's more so talking about traditional band. However, this modern the internet band. I'm not going to use Termina as an example because, frankly, I think the band that actually is just winning right now is actually Darko, and no one's talking about them winning in this capacity. Darko, 2 members, 200,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. They sell out merch. They don't tour. They sell out merch. They have 200,000 monthly on Spotify. I bet that band is making more money than most bands that are at a million monthly listeners right now. Because they're not signed to a label. They just get to milk 200,000 monthly listeners, and they're selling out merch. Tom's probably making more money from Darko than Chelsea Grin. And I also think Josh is probably making more money from Darko than Spite, or than he did in Amir. You want to fucking find, and you want to go that modern way, which again, that's what Termina's trying to do. Like, they're doing it way better than us. Like, no cap, no shame. Like, I'll say that any day. They're doing it way better than us. We got to get our game up. Like, that's how you do it. You do this internet shit. You push with social media. We're in the modern fucking age, and you maybe forgo touring until it's worth it. A band that I think did a mix of both worlds was Shadow of Intent. They're also a really good example. They started as an internet project, Chris Wiseman, Ben Dewar. Then they just released music, they sold merch, and then they started touring later. And they have a full career. I wouldn't even include the touring part personally. But again, I don't know how financially beneficial it is for them. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't fucking know. I'm not their accountant. But Chris is a smart dude. I don't think he would do it unless it made sense. So I'm sure they're making good bank from touring too. But that's after they grew their band. They didn't do the old school thing of release an EP and then tour and fucking be homeless and have to deal with that shit. They made it stable and made sense. Does that mean you now tell everyone to not start streaming because the market's always edgy? Because that's what Nergal is saying. No, because streaming has an extremely low barrier to entry. So I don't agree with that. Touring has you go to watch a show, you have to pay $50. You have to spend your whole night, your time, maybe take a day off work. You have to travel there. There's travel costs. That's a commitment. You stream something, you're at home, or you're taking a shit. You press the button. So that's why I don't agree. I don't agree with that comparison. But I see where you're coming from. But the other usual routes of a band being financially successful are becoming harder and harder. They're becoming more expensive for the band to do, and then more expensive, and then that it's also becoming more expensive for the consumer, both financially and both time-wise. Now, this is the tricky part, is some bands just like touring, right? Like, some musicians live to perform more than they do to write music. They live for traveling and performing and seeing their fans. That's something you can't exchange. Like, you can't say, you can't pick something else that's going to replace that. You have to tour to get that. I'm lucky. I don't give a f***. I don't have fun performing. It's more stressful than anything. It's tough, man. Like, the touring life is fucking hard. So if you're a new band and you could somehow avoid doing it and you don't care about performing that much, you'll be fine. But you gotta be smart as f***. Like, you gotta know your way. You gotta create hype. You gotta understand social media. You'll be fine then. And I think there should be more bands that are doing that, but you gotta find ways to stick out. Don't just assume making good music makes you stick out. It doesn't. It fucking doesn't. The good music is a given. It's the start. If you don't make good music, you're just fucked then. Why are you even here? That's just you have to make really good music. Now you're a player in the game. Now you have to do all the other stuff that people actually care about. So yeah, like I said, I don't like 100% agree with Nergal. I like 80% agree with him. It's tough, man. If you're a new band, just be aware. It's tough. And yeah, travel, enjoy life. I think that's good. Finish university. I mean, you do you, boo. Apparently, my great grandfather played violin, and he was apparently like well known back in the day. So there's some musical talent there. Sadly, the musical talent dies with me, and I have none.